Hi friends! In this video, we will see how to register SIP extension in Eternity. SIP offers the benefit of converged communications and saves substantial expenses. A SIP extension can call like any normal DKP or SLT of the Eternity. It will allow you to call any other extension of the Eternity and also to external numbers using Eternity's trunks. Moreover, it doesn't require any physical connection or cabling. SIP extension can also be used by any smartphone users and PC users. Let us understand configuration of a SIP extension in Eternity by a case, and then we shall configure it accordingly. Case 1. When Eternity GE VoIP card and SIP extension are connected in LAN network. For configuring SIP extension, log in as System Engineer in Eternity's Web GUI. You can register SIP extension on LAN or WAN port of VoIP card. Here we will register SIP extension on WAN port of VoIP card. Go to VoIP port parameters and program the WAN port settings like WAN port IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS address. Make sure that in VoIP port parameters page, LAN port IP and WAN port IP are in different subnet. Submit the page. Go to SIP extension settings page under VoIP configuration. Select any of the SIP extension available in Eternity. Select appropriate VoIP port number and enable the flag Use SIP extension. Give name to the SIP extension user. For example, it is ABC. Assign SIP ID. It will be the extension number of SIP extension. For example, assign 3301. Clicking on Authentication ID will automatically assign Authentication ID and Authentication Password as 3301 and 1234 respectively. Submit the page. Now we will see the settings at the client's end. SIP extension can be registered on smartphones as well as on PC. First, we will see the settings on PC side. You can use any third-party soft SIP phones for PC, as this will be registered as Open SIP Client. For example, we will use Counterpath X-Lite soft phone. Open the soft phone application and click on SIP account settings under Show menu option. Click Add to configure SIP account. Set the display name as ABC. Enter the username as 3301, as this is the SIP ID. Enter the authentication password assigned at Eternity's end, here in password field that is 1234. Authorization username is same as authentication ID in Eternity that is 3301. Domain is the registrar server address, means the IP address of the WAN port of VoIP card of Eternity. Here it is, 192.168.200.221. Press OK. Click Close. This SIP extension is ready to use. You can make an audio call as well as video call by this SIP extension. Now we will see one example of soft phone in smartphones. For example, we will use LinPhone. LinPhone is available for Android, iPhone, and iPad, BlackBerry, and Windows applications. Open the application. Go to I already have a SIP account. Enter the username as 3301, as this is the SIP ID. Enter the password assigned at Eternity's end, here in password field that is 1234. Domain will be the IP address of the WAN port of VoIP card of Eternity. Here it is, 192.168.200.221. Go to Settings. Go to SIP Accounts. Authentication user ID is same as Authentication ID in Eternity that is 3301. Save setting. It will get registered, and then you can make audio as well as video calls to SIP extensions which support video calls. Thus, we have seen registration of SIP extension on LAN, local area network. Now we will see SIP extension registration on external network. Case 2A. SIP extension uses public network, external network, to get register with Eternity GE VoIP card, which is behind the router and possesses private IP. To start with the configuration, we will have to do port forwarding in the router to provide public IP address to the WAN port of Eternity VoIP card for SIP registration and calling. Open the router's GUI for configuration. Let's take the example of Matrix Navan CNX 200. Go to Firewall and Security page. Go to Port Forwarding. Configure Port Forwarding. For SIP calling using public IP address, SIP and RTP ports must be forwarded for UDP and TCP protocol. Forward 5060 port for SIP, which is the default port. For RTP, forward 8000 to 9000 ports to VoIP card IP address. Log in as System Engineer in Eternity's Web GUI. Go to VoIP Port Parameters. Now click on Advance. In the router's public IP address field, enter the public IP address of router. Here, as per the example, it is 202.88.142.221. This is the IP address which will be used when SIP extension is registered on external network. Submit the page. Now go to SIP Extension General Parameters and select Use Router's Public IP Address under Source Port IP Address field. Then only the SIP extension will take the router's public IP for registration when it is on external network. Submit the page. Now, change in settings at client's end would be: for Counterpath XLite soft phone, now domain will be 202.88.142.221, which is the public IP address of the router. Press OK. For LinPhone, now domain will be 202.88.142.221, which is the public IP address of the router. Save the setting. Case 2B. If Eternity GE VoIP card is configured with public IP, go to VoIP Port Parameters. Configure the public IP address details as given to you by ISP in WAN port. Submit the page. Go to SIP Extension General Parameters and select Use VoIP Ethernet Port IP Address under Source Port IP Address field. Submit the page. Settings for Counterpath, XLite, Softphone, and LinPhone will remain the same. Case 2C. If Eternity GE VoIP card is configured with Dyn DNS. Go to VoIP Port Parameters. Configure Dynamic DNS. Submit the page. Click on Advance. Configure Stun. Submit the page. Go to SIP Extension General Parameters and select Use IP Address Fetched using Stun under Source Port IP Address field. Submit the page. Now, change in settings at client's end would be: for Counterpath XLite Softphone, now domain will be eternityvoip.dyndns.org, which is the public domain name assigned to the VoIP card of Eternity. Press OK. For LinPhone, now domain will be eternityvoip.dyndns.org, which is the public domain name assigned to the VoIP card of Eternity. Save the setting. The SIP extension is ready to use. You can make an audio call as well as video call by this. Thus, you can use any SIP soft phone with Eternity to avail full-fledged features of Eternity with minimal cost. This is how the SIP extension is registered in Eternity. Hope you are now clear with the configuration. Thank you for watching this video. For further queries, please contact Matrix Technical Support Team.